Hello and welcome to Quiz Class. Today we have 100 questions on songs from the 1950s. So let's have fun with question number 1. In 1959, which artist released the hit single Mac the Knife? Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, or Dean Martin? Bobby Darin. Who was the lead singer of the Platters during their 1955 hit Only You? Tony Williams, David Ruffin, or Sam Cooke? Tony Williams. Which song by Chuck Berry, released in 1958, became a rock and roll standard? Sweet Little 16, Roll Over Beethoven, or Johnny B. Good? Johnny B. Good. In 1956, Elvis Presley had his first Billboard #1 song with which song? Hound Dog, Heartbreak Hotel, or Don't Be Cruel? Heartbreak Hotel. What 1957 song by Buddy Holly was later covered by Linda Ronstadt in the 1970s? That'll Be the Day, Oh Boy, or Peggy Sue? That'll Be the Day. Who sang La Bamba in 1958, a song that later became a hit for Los Lobos in the 1980s? Jose Feliciano, Carlos Santana, or Richie Valens? Richie Valens. Which artist is known for the 1956 hit song Blue Suede Shoes? Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, or Carl Perkins? Carl Perkins. What was the name of Johnny Cash's debut single in 1955? Cry, 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 I Walk the Line, or Folsom Prison Blues? Cry, Cry, Cry. Which 1959 song by Bobby Darin crossed music genre boundaries from jazz to pop? Beyond the Sea, Dream Lover, or Splish Splash? Beyond the Sea. Who recorded the classic song What I Say in 1959? Otis Redding, Ray Charles, or James Brown? Ray Charles. In 1952, who released the controversial song Hound Dog, later covered famously by Elvis Presley? Big Mama Thornton, B.B. King, or Muddy Waters? Big Mama Thornton. Which song by Fats Domino, released in 1955, helped define the rock and roll genre? I'm Walkin', Blueberry Hill, or Ain't That a Shame? Ain't That a Shame. Who sang Chantilly Lace in 1958? Buddy Holly, Eddie Cochran, or the Big Bopper? The Big Bopper. What was the name of the first #1 hit by Chuck Berry in 1955? No Particular Place to Go, Rock and Roll Music, or Maybelline? Maybelline. Which 1957 hit by Jerry Lee Lewis caused a sensation with its energetic piano playing? Great Balls of Fire, High School Confidential, or Whole Lotta Shakin' Going On? Great Balls of Fire. What song did Ritchie Valens release in 1958 that was inspired by a traditional Mexican folk song? Let's Go, Donna Come On, or La Bamba? La Bamba. In 1956, who popularized the song Don't Be Cruel? Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, or Buddy Holly? Elvis Presley. Question 18. Who recorded the hit single Great Balls of Fire in 1957? Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, or Little Richard? Jerry Lee Lewis. What was the name of Little Richard's debut hit single in 1956? Tutti Frutti, Good Golly Miss Molly, or Long Tall Sally? Tutti Frutti. Which song by the Everly Brothers in 1958 is considered one of the most influential in rock and roll history? Wake Up Little Susie, All I Have to Do Is Dream, or Bye Bye Love? All I Have to Do Is Dream. What 1959 hit by Frankie Avalon became synonymous with the early American teen pop sound? Why, Venus, or Beauty School Dropout? Venus. Who was the female artist behind the 1957 hit Tammy? Patti Page, Doris Day, or Debbie Reynolds? Debbie Reynolds. In 1958, which artist released the iconic track Summertime Blues? Buddy Holly, Eddie Cochran, or Gene Vincent? Eddie Cochran. Who recorded All I Have to Do Is Dream in 1958, achieving instant success? The Righteous Brothers, the Everly Brothers, or Simon and Garfunkel? The Everly Brothers. Which 1959 Dion and the Belmont song became a doo-wop classic? A Teenager in Love, I Wonder Why, or Runaround Sue? A Teenager in Love. What song by Sam Cooke, released in 1957, later became an anthem for the civil rights movement? Chain Gang, Bring It On Home to Me, or Ain't That Good News? Ain't That Good News. In 1954, which artist released Shaboom, often considered one of the first doo-wop songs? The Chords, the Clovers, or the Drifters? The Chords. What was the title of the hit song by the Coasters in 1958 that used humor and saxophone riffs to capture listeners? Poison Ivy, Yakety Yak, or Charlie Brown? Yakety Yak. Who recorded the groundbreaking guitar solo in Johnny B. Good in 1958? Bo Diddley, Buddy Holly, or Chuck Berry? Chuck Berry. What was the name of Elvis Presley's hit song in 1956 that featured his famous dance move on The Ed Sullivan Show? Love Me Tender, Jailhouse Rock, or Hound Dog? Hound Dog. In 1955, which song did Bo Diddley release that featured his signature beat? Who Do You Love, I'm a Man, or Bo Diddley? Bo Diddley. Which artist released Tutti Frutti in 1955, known for its wild and flamboyant performance? Little Richard, Fats Domino, or Jerry Lee Lewis? Little Richard. Who sang Dream Lover in 1959, a song that became a multi-genre crossover hit? Neil Sedaka, Paul Anka, or Bobby Darin? Bobby Darin. What was the name of the 1958 song by Eddie Cochran that depicted the frustrations of teenage life? Summertime Blues, 20 Flight Rock, or Come On Everybody? Summertime Blues. In 1957, which artist released Bye Bye Love, setting a new standard for rock and roll duos? Jan and Dean, the Everly Brothers, or Simon and Garfunkel? The Everly Brothers. Which 1959 song by the Flamingos is known for its beautiful harmonies and is considered one of the best vocal performances of the era? The Great Pretender, I Only Have Eyes for You, or My Prayer? I Only Have Eyes for You. Who released the hit song Wake Up Little Susie in 1957? The Everly Brothers, the Beatles, or the Beach Boys? The Everly Brothers. What song did Ray Charles release in 1959 that showcased his unique blend of soul and rhythm and blues? Hit the Road Jack, What I Say, or Georgia on My Mind? What I Say. Who sang Long Tall Sally in 1956, a song known for its fast tempo and piano solo? Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, or Little Richard? Little Richard. Which 1955 song by Little Richard became a major influence on the development of rock music? Good Golly Miss Molly, Lucille, or Tutti Frutti? Tutti Frutti. In 1958, who released the song Rockin' Robin, which became a rock and roll standard for subsequent decades? Bobby Day, Michael Jackson, or Chuck Berry? Bobby Day. What was the title of the hit song by Buddy Holly in 1957 that used the Bo Diddley beat? Not Fade Away, Peggy Sue, or That'll Be the Day? Not Fade Away. Who recorded the song Yakety Yak in 1958, notable for its humorous lyrics and saxophone riffs? The Drifters, the Platters, or the Coasters? The Coasters. In 1959, which song by Lloyd Price reached the top of the Billboard charts? Personality, Stagger Lee, or I'm Gonna Get Married? Stagger Lee. What was the title of the 1956 song by Gene Vincent that became a rockabilly standard? Bebop-A-Lula, Blue Jean Bop, or Race with the Devil? Bebop-A-Lula. Who released Lollipop in 1958, a pop song known for its catchy chorus and tongue-in-cheek lyrics? The Chordettes, the Ronettes, or the Shirelles? The Chordettes. What 1959 hit by the Platters continued their string of successful ballads? Only You, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, or The Great Pretender? Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. In 1954, who had a hit with Earth Angel, a song that became a staple of the doo-wop genre? The Moonglows, the Penguins, or the Orioles? The Penguins. What was the title of the 1955 song by the Penguins that became a defining example of the vocal harmony style? Only You, In the Still of the Night, or Earth Angel? Earth Angel. Who released the single Come Go With Me in 1957, a song that achieved lasting fame in rock and roll history? The Drifters, the Del Vikings, or the Cadillacs? The Del Vikings. In 1958, which song by Duane Eddy featured his pioneering twangy guitar sound? Rebel Rouser, Cannonball, or 40 Miles of Bad Road? Rebel Rouser. Who sang Stagger Lee in 1959, a narrative song based on folklore? Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, or Lloyd Price? Lloyd Price. What was the title of the song by the Drifters in 1959 that has been covered by numerous artists ever since? There Goes My Baby, Under the Boardwalk, or Save the Last Dance for Me? There Goes My Baby. In 1957, who popularized the song Jailhouse Rock, which became a hit in both music and film? Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, or Jerry Lee Lewis? Elvis Presley. What song by the Champs, released in 1958, became famous for its saxophone solo? Limbo Rock, Wipeout, or Tequila? Tequila. Who recorded the hit single Love Letters in the Sand in 1957? Pat Boone, Ricky Nelson, or Bobby Darin? Pat Boone. What was the name of the instrumental hit by Santo and Johnny in 1959 that featured a distinctive steel guitar? Mr. Lou, Sleepwalk, or Apache? Sleepwalk. In 1959, which artist released Maybelline, blending country music with rhythm and blues? Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry? Chuck Berry. Who released The Teen Angel in 1959, a song that became iconic for its tragic teenage romance theme? Ricky Nelson, Bobby Vee, or Mark Dinning? Mark Dinning. What was the name of the 1959 song by Bobby Rydell that became a teen anthem? Forget Him, Wild One, or Volare? Wild One. In 1956, which song did Carl Perkins release that became a cornerstone of the rockabilly genre? Honey Don't, Blue Suede Shoes, or Matchbox? Blue Suede Shoes. Which artist released A Teenager in Love in 1959, capturing the angst and joy of young love? The Everly Brothers, Frankie Avalon, or Dion and the Belmonts? Dion and the Belmonts. What song did the Clovers release in 1959, known for its catchy hook and rhythm and blues influence? Blue Velvet, Love Potion No. 9, or 16 Candles? Love Potion No. 9. Who sang A Big Hunk of Love in 1959, showcasing a rock and roll style that influenced later artists? Little Richard, Elvis Presley, or Chuck Berry? Elvis Presley. What was the name of a hit song by Fats Domino in 1956 that brought New Orleans rhythm and blues to a wider audience? Ain't That a Shame, Walking to New Orleans, or Blueberry Hill? Blueberry Hill. In 1957, which song by the Diamonds was a cover of rhythm and blues song by the Gladiolas? Little Darlin', The Stroll, or Silhouettes? Little Darlin'. Who released "O Carol" in 1959, a song that was rumored to be about a high school sweetheart? Neil Sedaka, Paul Anka, or Bobby Vee? Neil Sedaka. What 1955 hit by Bill Haley and his Comets is considered one of the first rock and roll songs to gain international popularity? Shake, Rattle, and Roll, See You Later, Alligator, or Rock Around the Clock? Rock Around the Clock. Who sang Peggy Sue in 1957, the song that became synonymous with rock and roll nostalgia? Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, or Eddie Cochran? Buddy Holly. What was the title of the 1959 song by the Skyliners that featured lush orchestration and became a doo-wop classic? Pennies from Heaven, This I Swear, or Since I Don't Have You? Since I Don't Have You. In 1956, which song by Elvis Presley became an anthem for rebellious youth? Teddy Bear, Jailhouse Rock, or Don't Be Cruel? Don't Be Cruel. Which artist released Kansas City in 1959, a song that became a rhythm and blues staple? Wilbert Harrison, Little Richard, or Chuck Berry? Wilbert Harrison. Who recorded Poison Ivy in 1959, a song known for its catchy rhythm and metaphorical lyrics? The Platters, the Coasters, or the Drifters? The Coasters. What was the name of the 1955 song by Pat Boone that was a cover of an R&B hit by Fats Domino? Blueberry Hill, Ain't That a Shame, or I'm in Love Again? Ain't That a Shame. In 1958, who had a hit with Splish Splash, a song that brought humor and a lighthearted feel to rock and roll? Bobby Darin, Elvis Presley, or Bill Haley? Bobby Darin. What song by the Everly Brothers released in 1957 is considered one of their defining hits? Wake Up Little Susie, All I Have to Do Is Dream, or Bye Bye Love? Bye Bye Love. Who sang It's All in the Game in 1958, a song that has been covered by many artists since? Dean Martin, Tommy Edwards, or Nat King Cole? Tommy Edwards. What was the title song by Ritchie Valens in 1958 that showcased his roots in Mexican folk music? Come On, Let's Go, La Bamba, or Donna? La Bamba. Who released Peter Gunn in 1959, an instrumental track that became famous for its use in television and film? Duane Eddy, The Ventures, or Henry Mancini? Henry Mancini. Question 80. What was the name of the 1957 hit by the Crickets that featured a distinctive guitar riff? That'll Be the Day, Maybe Baby, or Oh Boy? That'll Be the Day. In 1956, which song by Marty Robbins became a crossover hit between country and pop music? Singing the Blues, El Paso, or Big Iron? Singing the Blues. Who sang Sea of Love in 1959, a song that later experienced a revival in the 1980s? Ricky Nelson, Phil Phillips, or Del Shannon? Phil Phillips. What 1955 hit by the Platters helped establish them as a leading vocal group of the era? Only You, The Great Pretender, or Smoke Gets in Your Eyes? Only You and You Alone. Who released Don't Forbid Me in 1957, a song that became a chart-topping hit? Elvis Presley, Ricky Nelson, or Pat Boone? Pat Boone. What was the name of the 1959 song by Dion and the Belmonts that became a doo-wop standard? A Teenager in Love, Where or When, or I Wonder Why? A Teenager in Love. In 1956, which song did Little Richard release that featured his signature piano style and high-energy vocals? Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, or Good Golly Miss Molly? Long Tall Sally. Who sang All I Have to Do Is Dream in 1958, a song that epitomized the dreamy pop sound of the era? The Righteous Brothers, the Beach Boys, or the Everly Brothers? The Everly Brothers. What was the title of the song by Hank Ballard and the Midnighters in 1959 that was later adapted into a famous dance craze? The Twist, the Stroll, or the Mashed Potato? The Twist. Who released Lonely Teardrops in 1958, a song that became a cornerstone of the soul genre? Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, or Otis Redding? Jackie Wilson. Question 90. What was the name of the hit song by the Coasters in 1957 that became a narrative style and humorous lyrics? Charlie Brown, Searchin', or Yakety Yak? Searchin'. In 1958, which song by Eddie Cochran captured the spirit of teenage rebellion? Summertime Blues, Come On Everybody, or 20 Flight Rock? Summertime Blues. Which artist released Silhouettes in 1957, a song known for its distinctive doo-wop sound? The Del Vikings, the Rays, or the Diamonds? The Rays. What song did the Crests release in 1959, known for its smooth harmonies and romantic lyrics? 16 Candles, Step by Step, or The Angels Listened In? 16 Candles. Who sang Heartbreak Hotel in 1956, a song that became a defining moment in rock and roll history? Roy Orbison, Jerry Lee Lewis, or Elvis Presley? Elvis Presley. What was the name of the 1959 song by Paul Anka that became a hit on both sides of the Atlantic? Put Your Head on My Shoulder, Diana, or Lonely Boy? Put Your Head on My Shoulder. In 1956, which song by Elvis Presley was noted for its innovative use of the guitar? Love Me Tender, All Shook Up, or a Hound Dog? Hound Dog. Who released Runaround 2 in 1959, a song that told a cautionary tale about love and betrayal? Bobby Vinton, Frankie Valli, or Dion? Dion. What was the title of the song by the Drifters in 1959 that has been widely covered in various musical styles? Under the Boardwalk, There Goes My Baby, or Save the Last Dance for Me? There Goes My Baby. Who sang Return to Sender in 1957, a song that became one of the most popular of the decade? Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, or Little Richard? Elvis Presley. Last question. What was the name of the 1956 hit by the Cadillacs that is considered a classic of the doo-wop genre? Gloria, Speed-Oo, or Zoom? Speed-Oo. And our bonus question, in 1957, which song did Sam Cooke release that became a significant hit and showcased his smooth vocal style? Let us know the answer in the comments. Thanks for playing this quiz, and we will see you next time.